Here's to you, dear listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Metal Gear Monday's Revengeance, where you'll find some of your favorite conversations about Metal Gear and Kojima-related content delivered to you through tactical podcast action. I'm your host, Warren Minix, and with me, as always, are two warriors that will fight to the death. On one side, you have one who thinks we need tension, conflict, that the world today has become too soft. We're living in an age where true feelings are suppressed, so we're going to shake things up a bit. We'll create a world dripping with tension, a world filled with greed and suspicion, bravery and cowardice. Mr. Chris Hampton, how we doing, bud?
I thought you were talking about Donald Trump there for a second.
Jesus Christ.
I was really worried you were going to throw that one to me, honestly.
Hey, wait, so what character were you describing? Ocelot? Or?
Ocelot.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That sounds about
Why
right.
am I Ocelot?
Because I'm just going in alphabetical order for the first name.
Oh, okay.
We've talked about this.
All right.
Peek behind the curtain.
And the other feels we have no nation, no philosophy, no ideology. That we go where we're needed, fighting not for country, not for government, but for ourselves. We need no reason to fight. We fight because we are needed. We will be the deterrent for those with no other recourse. We are soldiers without borders, our purpose defined by the era we live in.
Ronald Reagan?
Miss Tori. Tori Ronald Reagan Cortez herself. How we doing?
Yeah, fighting's in my blood.
So, today is our wrap-up episode before we go to the listener episode. We have a couple of characters left that we want to talk about, and we may dabble into our thoughts on the end of the game. We did release an episode where we got to actual end gameplay, so we're not going to rehash a lot of the same stuff. But we did want to get something out there right before we drop the listener episode, because we may be, pivoting into our next game in the series when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get started, though, Chris.
Yeah.
Is there any shout out or anything you'd like to just get off your chest before we get started?
When's this episode coming out? The 26th, is that right?
26th, yeah.
Go vote. Just go vote. I don't care for who, just go vote. This is probably the last election we'll ever have, so just go vote. That's my shout out. My shout out is to democracy. Go vote.
Democracy. Remember when it was a thing?
Remember when you could go outside?
Guys, I've read The Secret. Stop willing this into existence. I'm telling you.
I don't know what the secret is.
Stop willing this into existence. I know it's all for the name of comedy, but my God, you're getting too real. And I don't want that to be in, the space. I don't want that to be... Don't will it into
Sorry,
existence.
Warren. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Papa Warren's coming out for a minute. And neither of you kids are getting ice cream. We'll drive home. I will turn this car around.
Chris
I'm gonna turn
started
this podcast
it.
around.
Just you
Come
wait till
on.
I chop my arm off and replace it with your dead
With my
step
evil brother's
clone.
For a minute there, I thought you were.
Step clone.
For a minute there, I thought you were referencing Arrested Development, the guy that they had teach all the kids a lesson, and that's why
that's
you
right.
don't yell in the car.
Well,
And that's why you don't teach lessons
if I'm
without
at
teaching
EMSCA
lessons.
and Tori was Big Boss in her intro, that leaves you with Eva.
Oh,
fuck
so
yeah.
true.
I'm definitely dripping with tension.
Ew,
you know what I mean?
okay.
Just like,
All right. Let's
What a
move on from this.
Warren stockings glistening in the night.
yes.
There's
Tell
a
'em.
mental image. Hey,
Tell 'em,
Sean. here's another.
Fan art
Here's another
idea.
potential. Yeah.
Oh,
Here's another
no.
potential
Oh,
commission.
no. Oh my God! If I am superimposed as Eva, oh boy. Oh,
You know
boy.
what? We could just hang on. Let me just open up Photoshop real quick.
Oh my God, that would be such amazing merch. Me as
I'm
Eva.
on it.
Oh my God, that'd
I'm
be
on
amazing.
it. Let me just write this down. Give me some time. Hey, everyone, check the merch store back here in like a week. I don't know.
Oh no. Okay, Tori. Apart from apparently helping create new merch, do you have a mystery patron that you'd like to shout out?
As per usual.
working. with the light drum.
Rain down. Patron names. Y'all see how it's sticking to my windscreen here? That's pretty cool, huh?
That's good. That is pretty dope. Is that how you pick it? Does it stick to the screen?
Well, in this case, about 5 of them stuck.
Oh, good.
So let me try this again. I want to be as impartial as possible. That was just created for the sound. Did you even hear that?
Sure.
Okay, hang on.
Okay. What are you, popping popcorn over there?
Oh, really? Is that how it sounded?
A little bit, yeah. A little poppy.
Okay. Today's mystery Peyton.
Mystery Peyton.
Peyton Manning.
Mystery patron is Rhett L. Clayton.
Rhett L. Clayton.
Rhett L. Clayton.
Hi, Rhett.
Well, shout out to Rhett L. Clayton. That's awesome, man. Hopefully we'll be chatting with you in the Discord.
Yes, and if you wait just un momento, I can tell you that Rhett L. Clayton has been with us since April of 2019. So
Hey,
thank
nice
you.
job,
About
man.
that.
Killing it, dude.
Thank you
18
for your
months.
patronage. Thank you for sticking with us. If you haven't shouted
Been
us out
with
over
us
in the
through some
Discord, please do.
Hard times there, haven't you? Yeah.
A lot of transition. A lot of stuff going on.
Transition.
Tori, is there anything you want to do as a shout out outside of the mystery patron?
No.
Okay, good talk.
Nope.
Anyway, yeah. So you've heard me say this half a dozen to a dozen times at this point, but again, we are having our listener episode at the end of the season, which will be the one after this. So please get your responses in by Halloween night at midnight. That way it gives us enough time to get through all the information we want so we can actually have a pretty organized episode with all of your responses. We recommend using the email, contact at Metal Gear Mondays, and if you leave a subject line, it makes it a lot easier. It can be about Metal Gear Solid 3, our spooky season where we did a few things there, or just maybe something else that maybe has to do with the podcast, and it's relevant enough that we will bring it up. So by all means, drop it in by Halloween at midnight of the year of our Lord 2020.
Warren, what do you hope that someone writes in about?
What do I hope?
Yeah.
Well, when I was a boy, I always wanted to build rockets. And maybe if someone just, I don't know, just wants to talk about space travel and what to do, maybe that would be cool to talk about,
Yeah?
you know?
All right.
Yeah. Space travel. Bring that up. I have no
Send
way
us
to
a letter
respond to that.
about space travel and how
Please do.
furious it makes you.
I see what you did there.
Oh. Also, don't forget.
Or how joyous it makes you.
Yes, don't forget joy.
Switch the flip.
And also, on top of that, you can also include also. Oh, sorry, I just realized how many times I said also.
God.
Wow.
You can include your commentary, questions, and concerns on The Thing and on Oxenfree, and we will cover that as well.
Agreed.
I guess I'll do
So
that.
now. Yeah.
I mean, Chris might do it begrudgingly, but it will be done.
I guess.
So, this episode today, we are going to talk about 3 main characters. We might talk about a little bit of some smaller stuff as we go through, but we're going to talk about Eva, Mr. Ocelot himself, Adamska, and we're going to do a little bit of discussion around Big Boss, which we have already talked about Naked Snake. We've already talked about Jack turning into Naked Snake, a lot of his past. We're going to do a little bit of delving into who is now Big Boss by the time we get to the end of this game. So we've gotten a lot out there, and we're not going to sort of touch into the other games that have Big Boss in them because we're going to be getting to those games sometime in the future. So if we sort of cut the timeline and don't get any further, there's a reason, I promise. So without any further ado, think the best place to start is Big Boss, because we sort of, as far as outside of the stinger at the end, we end the game with Jack, Naked Snake, being awarded the title of Big Boss because he basically killed the enemy that was the boss, which we now know was a crazy ruse. There was no defection. There was nothing. It was all to obtain the Philosopher's Legacy, get it to the right people, take care of Volgin. Like, it was all this giant play from the boss, which was expertly done on her part. So I love it, and I do appreciate it because in the ending that we've already discussed, that final scene of him sort of really having no idea. He doesn't care about anything. No, even the unit wants to celebrate, and Jack is not pleased with any of it. And him over that grave it's fucking awesome. It's very interesting how that game ends. It's not really celebratory at all, and I hate that because he blames himself, obviously, because he thinks, he's the reason why the boss died. And he retires from Fox at the end of this game, which is story-wise, at the end of this game, which is crazy.
Well, he kind of, it ends on a dour note in a way.
Yeah.
Right?
Big time.
And the boss isn't very happy with himself, and he's brooding. And I think the idea was you leave this guy off with some sort of like internal conflict that eventually becomes an external conflict that drives the narrative of the Metal Gear Saga through its series.
Sure.
But when I was a younger fella, I always thought that Snake was like, Big Boss was like Solid Snake, but he had personality. And I always felt like Solid Snake never really had a strong personality other than being a clone.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I sometimes, I guess younger me chalked it up to like, the like better graphics or just the hardware could help more. But it is in the performance as well. Throughout our episodes, there's just some great moments of this character interacting with most of the main cast. Even some of the, we can pick on the dialogue all day for some of it, but I think his relationship with Ocelot is really good in this game. Like it is silly at parts, but it's all basically designed to tell a story moving forward between those two characters, even though we're not aware that they're going to have a literal future between these two actual characters. The next time, story-wise, we know Ocelot was with his clone son at that point. So I love that. I actually really appreciate it. I know they're very different. Like, Ocelot was not who I thought he was going to be in this game versus what he was in 1 and 2, right? I knew he was going to be younger for obvious reasons, but I didn't take him as this like Russian Gru wannabe Western gunslinging, not revolver. I just love that they did that with him, and I just thought it was a great juxtaposition to Jack as we move forward through the game. And Naked Snake, as far as a snake character, it'd be tough to like rank the snakes, because I do think, without spoiling any of 5 for those who have played it, I really like what they did with Punish Venom Snake, but there is sort of a wool pulled over the eyes that I don't really count him.
I agree with you. I don't. He's a fucking fake snake. He's a snake.
He's a fake
He's a
ass
snake in
snake.
the grass.
So it just, and I understand like how I feel about that, and sure, you could argue the creation of the character, the avatar for the player. Like, there's a lot of stuff, but as far as literal narrative, I would safely say I think Naked Snake is the best depiction of a snake character in the games.
100% agreed.
Outside of written, just straight up performance, everything. I think it's just really, it's an amazing arc that he goes through in this game. And as far as arcs go, like, I still think the boss is my favorite character of this game. When you really think about it and how she does everything and just her performance and everything they do. But as far as the arc itself, she plays such a pivotal role, obviously, to get him to where he is and what moves the story forward chronologically. But his arc is probably the best. It might be the best in Metal Gear.
It's a good one.
And I think I can, you know, I don't know if I would be able to just like put my foot down and say that, but it's definitely up there. And it's just, like I said, you emote. Like, I really felt something at the end of that game, and that song is so, it's just, there's so much great directing in that final shot and the final scene and everything they do. It's really special, and it, for some reason, it skips over. Like, I love the ending of Metal Gear 4, but it's so long, and sometimes it's for jokes. Like, people just, like, now they know it as the longest cutscene ever, where this somehow was just always on a pedestal from, I feel like, year one, right? Like, just as soon as it was out, it's sort of hailed as like one of the best endings in video games if you're invested in the character. And I don't know how you could play this game and not be invested in Snake unless you're shooting, you know, clipping through the cutscenes, right?
Yeah,
if you're actually
unless you're good old cutscene skip boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just really
You know who you are.
Yeah, I'm not giving him credit. He knows we're giving him credit, but I'm not giving him the satisfaction.
What if I want the satisfaction?
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. It's hard to, I want to bring up more about him because obviously what's interesting about it is now he's a Russian hero, right? Jack is a Russian hero because he eliminated Volgin. He's known for doing that. And when we get to our next game and our next season, we're going to learn that Snake basically retired from war, but that didn't last very long at all. He wanted to be a hunting guy.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, generally speaking. And the next thing that happens to him chronologically is he's going to meet Frank Yeager, who, as far as people that are playing these games on release date, Frank Yeager is a name that will spike because he is a pretty pivotal character in Metal Gear Solid 1 and the Metal Gear games, the NES Metal Gear games. And we're going to get into like a whole, like that's a whole story between Frank and Snake in the next game we get to when we get to Portable Ops. So I'm excited to get to that stuff, but we're going to learn about the CIA, the Perfect Soldier Project, again, stuff that they had sort of talked about in Metal Gear 1 and the Metal Gear games referencing all of those things. But I don't want to get too much into it because it's good character stuff to discuss when we get to Portable Ops next season. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to hear some last thoughts on Snake, Jack, Big Boss. If you guys have any, we're going to put him to bed. We're going to put him to rest until the listener app.
Shoot him with a trank.
See if people bring him up.
Right in the, right in the booty.
Pop him with the easy gun. You have anything for Big Boss, Tori? Before we move on?
I just love how in touch with his emotions he seems to. No, I just think he really attempts during the Virtuous mission to put the mission first and not get distracted by, Eva. But
yeah,
but the humanity that is shown in his character, that he is tempted, that he does, have to remember himself at certain moments in his interactions with her. Those are the moments that I think make him a more interesting character to me than Solid Snake. And no hate for Solid Snake. He's a great character, but I think, like you said, I just want to reiterate that, Naked Snake, Jack, Big Boss will always be tops in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm excited when we get to like Metal Gear 4 to the point where I want to see how the evolution of gameplay and storytelling again goes. I know it's a totally different game and a totally different character essentially, but I'm excited to go through that again because it has been a long time since I've gone through that story and gone through that characterization as a player, like literally playing the game. It's been 10 years. I think I can safely say that. I haven't played Metal Gear in a very long time. for Metal Gear 4.
And not to put the cart before the horse or anything, but earlier when you brought up the ending of Metal Gear Solid 4, I thought you were going to allude to the similarities between the saluting at the graveyard and then
sure. I see
the
what you mean,
not so saluting at the graveyard.
Right.
That's
actually,
having fallen in love with Snake Eater, and then I had to wait several years to play Metal Gear Solid 4 because I didn't own a PlayStation 3. So when I finally did get to that scene, it was just, it transported me back to the end of Snake Eater over again. And it was, to me, it was really effective because I was still carrying the weight of, what you have to go through with the boss.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot how, like, when playing this, it is the one that I probably would, it's probably my favorite, but it's not the one I play the most, and it's probably not the one that I, like, when I say something's my favorite, there's so many different, like, balls to juggle when we talk about that, of, like, I'd probably say the story's the best in this game, the characterization's the best in this. But if you go with, like, well, what one do you play more often? It's Metal Gear Solid 1 for me. And there's a lot of similarities in both of those games, as well as the true ending that you said for Metal Gear Solid 4. It's very interesting how they reflect themselves a lot. There's a lot of ring theory style stuff of how it begins, how it ends, and things like that. We'll touch on it a little bit when we get to Adamska, but I'm interested to move to Eva. Because with Eva, she's a very interesting character because I feel like for someone that lived through the story of this game and was such a giant role and probably like a little bit of a fan favorite, I always think of Eva when I think of Metal Gear Solid 3. Right?
Oh yeah,
like
how can you not?
Right, there's so much good about her in this game that she doesn't really get passed on. Right, she's charismatic. She's also interesting. She's appealing for more than just the sexualization they do to her. She's appealing because she's the spy. She knows she can handle herself. She actually emotes with multiple characters in their own way, which is very interesting. To then move forward, she's kind of passed on as far as a main character in future games, which is so crazy to me that we sort of like hear about her, right? Like, oh, this is like she has a pivotal role, but it's not really something moving forward as far as like the Eva section in the next game or the Eva character growth in future games, right? Like it's very interesting that they do that to her.
And
I really don't know why.
In the video game world of Metal Gear, there's like 15 or 20 main characters, and then everyone else is just an NPC, right?
Right.
And I don't know. They do bring her back in 4, right? Big Mama, and you get to do the cool little beep beep spoilers, beep beep bike ride, which is cool.
Beep beep spoilers. Sorry, that's how we're gonna have to introduce spoilers from now on.
Wow, beep beep spoilers. There it is, guys. That's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, noting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Eva's cool, but it is a shame that they do not use her in the plot, and it just seems to be kind of reflective of how Kojima treats women in his stories, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, because this seems like the game that is the exception, right? Like, this is outside of the obvious tropes that she hits of the, being the probably the most attractive girl in the room, the sex appeal, the shitty dialogue that she sometimes has that's all innuendo. It's like they're not even like they're like single entendres, right? Like some of the stuff she talks about. But then for her character to be so powerful and special on her own devices, right? Like her agency is completely her own. She doesn't rely on anyone really to do anything. And when we learn that she sort of like had help, it's also with the boss, who is like a fucking amazing person to be like in league with. And obviously, we know that she was a double agent with the Chinese government and all the stuff that we learn about at the end of that game with the, she's got the microfilm and she basically stole. What's so crazy is she steals the philosopher's legacy, and then we're going to learn that that's a fake one. And it was only half the legacy, but it wasn't even real anyway because of our triple agent boy, which we'll get to.
Which doesn't,
so she...
That does not make sense, Warren. I got to call that out. Like, she stole half of the fake philosopher's legacy. I don't know. It just seems like some weird glue. That's what I think my big critique is, like, at the end of this game, they just tack on a bunch of weird story meta shit to make it fit.
And it's very like just tell. It's just exposition machine.
Oh, fucking God, shut up.
It is really odd though. And again, her performance to deliver that is pretty great because she doesn't know it's fake, right? So she's saying, here's what I've done. And then we get, it's like scrolls. Isn't it like text on a screen? It's just white text on a black screen of like,
well, also
and then the Ocelot call comes in.
Right.
They talk about the Chinese government developing their own nuclear technology. Like they sort of give her credit for what she's done to sort of catch the world up in the nuclear race. But then it's just, the half part was weird. And basically how she sort of, her failure cost her job in intelligence, and she was removed from China. Like, that sucks.
Wild.
Who would have thought, man? And like I said, I know the joke was like I really felt like she was like the best spy in the game. Like anything that Snake needed, she was like, oh yeah, here it is. Here's your solution because I'm the better spy of the two of us right now. I'm the trained one. I'm the one that's been playing with you from like minute 6, right? Only to be basically flipped on her ear because she sucks. Apparently, she got totally bamboozled throughout the entire game.
She's too trusting, I think, and that's something that she brings up in 4 later on. Is like how she felt used with like the les enfants terribles situation, and like
she drops right into that, man.
She's a tool that's being used ultimately and bounced around, even like not just in this case like her skills, but later on even her body is just used.
Yeah, I mean literally that. I mean that's not even like I just it's interesting to see. I'm assuming the way that they lean on it is that I guess this whole thing like sort of broke her, and the only thing that was real was her feelings for Naked Snake.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I guess the way I would, go ahead.
That's
yeah,
the
what do you
thing.
mean?
For as badass of a spy as she has been throughout this whole game, the one thing in her mission that she can't complete, and it maybe is less consequential for her, so it's not like she fucked up, but she couldn't kill Snake, and even further, the les enfants terribles. She offers her body to it because of her love for Snake, right? I mean, I didn't read that wrong. So that's like, she wanted to be a part of that. And so she got herself involved in this whole big fucked up thing because of her feelings for Snake. Like that's woof, man.
It's really interesting. It's like the shoes on the other foot for her because she uses everybody else's feelings and emotions against them when she's doing her thing, and she ended up becoming the patsy in general. She is super crucial to it, but at the end of the day, for what, right? And we'll get into their relationship again. The mama stuff we talked about is great when we get to it, which is way down the line as far as chronological story. But where she's just sort of, I guess there's no spoiling here because we're moving forward with her next role, but like she basically gives birth to the two main characters of Metal Gear Solid 1 and then the bad guy of Metal Gear Solid 2 also. Like that's just another twist they throw in later. But we'll Luckily, by the
Kojima.
time if you guys are going through this and then you
He's
get
also
to those
the president
pods,
in Metal Gear Solid 1.
he is,
Yeah.
I know, which is, oh my God, it's so crazy.
Let's
But
talk
that's,
about
again,
that.
that call. Oh my God. Well, so we're going to get to that because we're going to move on
Also,
here.
the antagonist of the secret antagonist of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, I guess technically that's true.
Beep beep.
Yeah.
Wow. No spoils. Beep beep. Before we move on from Eva, outside of the obvious stuff that I at least would bring up, like I definitely like she was hot as shit. She was dope as shit. She was such a badass character. I actually appreciated her dialogue, her character growth with Snake. It was very believable in this game.
Yeah.
Before we move on, Chris, is there anything else you want to drop on Eva before we...
Hey, don't
the
drop
shooting
anything
boy.
on Eva. She's been through enough.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I'm not going to do a call in a Fulton drop. I'm not going to call a supply drop in on overhead. No, Eva's great. I like her. She definitely, I think, should get more of the credit for being the more competent spy and
Right.
so on. But I think her character flaw, as it is written, or the way that I read it, is just that she's a little too trusting of people, and she's a giver, right? She gives a lot of herself to other people and other causes.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a little tragic in a way. And on the one hand, I feel like there's a lot of unnecessary sex in Kojima's games. Like, I would call attention to Meryl in 1, and then in 2, like the posters with the boobs and
And
little
more
pervy
random
stuff.
dick grabs.
and then in this one, you know, the R1 moments, it's a little pervy with Eva herself. And I would say even in 5, or 4, excuse me, it's a little strange in 4 when she's like Big Mama and older. She's still wearing like the low cut stuff, even though she would be like what, in her 80s?
Hey, she still got it. Wait, 80s?
Yeah, right.
You caught me
She's getting
mid.
up there.
You
She
caught
just
me
looks
mid.
amazing.
Like,
How old
nah,
is
she's
she?
still doing all right. Hold up. What?
How old is Eva?
Oh, what? When you're talking about when we get to like when she's literally Metal Gear Solid 4 stuff?
Yeah, Big Mama.
Great question. She was born in the 30s.
It says she was 78 years old.
So she's 70. I mean, close enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that we shouldn't be really talking about a woman's age like that, but
Hey,
yeah,
she
damn near
looks
80.
good for her age. Can we just say that?
She looks
She
great.
all right.
She's got a Helen Mirren thing going on. She's killing it.
Yeah, but it's also like just in this weird way in Kojima's video games, it seems like he starts to get a little better here with his treatment of female characters and story by fleshing them out in a pretty substantial way.
Yes.
But I don't think he ever or even has yet moved beyond like, oh, well, women can only be in my games, or women are only in my games if they bring like a sense of beauty as well. Like they have to be very physically attractive.
Which is like the entirety of the Beauty and the Beast unit in 4. It's just like they try to give them backstory, but they're just hot models that are in crazy shit that makes them the whatever animal they
Not that
represent.
I'm coming to Kojima's defense on this or anything, but that is the industry. You know, that's not just Kojima being a perv. That's been video
Yes.
games for years.
So you're not wrong. I guess what makes this game so special though is that like it's one thing to be like sexy, right? That's great, but that's the standard. So then to also triple down on what he did, because I would say it's pretty fair share of character development between the men and the women that are the main characters of this game. And this is a game about, you know, it's Metal Gear Solid. So we're playing as Snake, and he shares almost the same amount of character development as 3 other people in this game, which really not even Adamska. Adamska's more like, he's just sizzle, right? There's not really character development for him. We'll get into him in a minute, but for him to share that, I would love to say that that's what makes this game stand out. Not that it has to be men or women, but it's interesting that the other side of something that's so important to Jack, which would be the 2 women in his life by the time this operation is over, they are not just, mama and potential girlfriend later, right? Like, this was my pseudo mom lover, don't know what it is, but half my life is devoted to her. And then here's the girl that keeps giving me all the shit I need to win, who like can't keep her hands off me. But that's not, it's not that. Like, that's just like the paper thin. If you wanted to complain about this, there's so much more behind them, which is what stands out, because I don't really see this in other games for the most part, especially not in Metal Gear games, and it's just interesting that to learn, I would feel like he learned that he did he made a great call with this game to then not that he has to, it's not that it has to be 28 women in this game and no dudes. And it has nothing to do with like doing, it's just like clearly learning that like there's a way to make characters appealing regardless of what they are or who they think they are. Like, he can do that with a lot of people in other games. And it just feels bad that like, even the boss, I feel like we're going to get to games that I feel like she gets kind of shit on too.
Yeah, she gets the shaft later. But I think,
you know what I mean? Now, granted, I don't think he wrote that game, but still, it feels, I don't know, it just feels, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, he worked his way up to this level, and it's, I'll say this with the preface of your comment, it is a bummer that he took Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 to get to 3, where he finally does have what feels like fully developed female characters. And then what happens after that? They just get shit on. Like, almost immediately. Right. He just turns around and is like, well, just kidding. So that is frustrating. Yes.
Definitely. I'm ready to move on to, I feel like he's just such a name. I feel like, I know the games aren't called Metal Gear Ocelots, but like
Metal Gear Ocelot creeping in the background though.
Oh man, it's so interesting. So okay, we're gonna get into Adamska, Shalashaska himself, Revolver Ocelot. The prequel to this moving forward is, obviously, we've talked about this, he is the boss's son and the boss and Sara's son, which we do learn in this game through their own, you don't have to be smart to notice it, but they don't also just say it outright. With Ocelot, before because there's a lot of stuff we can talk about with him, but of the main cast that we're sort of talking about here, these main four, as far as character development, I think it's probably pales in comparison to the other three that we've been mentioning. But what I do love that they establish is his relationship with all of those characters. Now, with Eva, that's not really needed. It's just more they're sort of like, fighting, like they're knocking heads. And then it's also interesting that he was actually the other spy. So I like that piece. Mm-hmm. But a lot of his growth and a lot of his intrigue is his juxtaposition with Snake and his juxtaposition with the boss, especially that we know that he doesn't explicitly say it in the game, that they know, like Ocelot doesn't know that the boss is his mom. Mm-hmm. And the boss doesn't know that Ocelot is her kid explicitly. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but it's certainly not defined in the game in any way. You can intuit what you want, but it's not confirmed in any way. So to know that and replaying the game makes a lot of interesting asides when you're watching his character go through emotions. And then obviously the overt stuff is the stuff that, the literal showdown between him and Snake is awesome. Like, a lot of Snake's character growth is at the hands of Ocelot. And I think that makes him super interesting outside of he's always the fucking carpet puller. He's the one that's going to be like, you thought you knew what you were doing, Metal Gear, but I'm back. Like, he always seems like the guy to be like, let me pick up a phone and fucking make you guys want another game.
He's the wild card, man. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He
just really feels that way. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I like that Adamska and Jack form a good foil for each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's sort of like there's the story, the meta story of the whole Metal Gear thing operates on two levels. There's this conflict between Big Boss and Zero, and then an Adamska that's kind of moving in a circle of like they're chasing each other. And then there's the other plot of like the clone snakes all chasing each other as well. And it's like, I don't know, it comes in threes, right? Mm-hmm. How these characters sort of like weave into each other. But then Ocelot is the one that kind of links to, at least in the modern games, that links to the main, like the two circles. He's the link between those two circles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I would say before Tori hops in, I always thought, like, obviously playing this game now, like, and sort of giving it way more time and energy as far as discussing it than I've ever done prior to this. But I always took Ocelot as like our way of feeling like the boss is always there before I played Peace Walker, which we'll get into later. But I always felt like now knowing that about the boss and how she relates to Ocelot is like Ocelot's always there in a sense that way, like the boss has always been around. Like I just never understood how Ocelot somehow is really the only character to have like direct ties to every single character in these series that have Snake in their name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly we'll learn about Zero because he's still somehow tied in by the time we get to the end of the story. But as far as actually affecting the story, affecting the, being a foil to some of the characters, being an assistant to the other character, like he's the only one to do that. And I always felt like the reason why he's always a linchpin in these games, outside of the really great performances in the games, is because he is tied to the boss in one way or another, which that's just a doing this. I think I'm giving it a little too much leg, like now to say that, but that's how I always felt going back, where I was like, oh, of course, like he should be part of it because the boss is dead, so we need to have somebody in that, who's still in that bloodline or whatever.
Right.
And Ocelot sort of did that for me. It was kind of comforting for a little bit there.
Sure.
What do you have, Tori, to bring up about Mr. Shalashaska?
Oh, not a whole lot that hasn't already been said. I respect Ocelot a lot for the reasons... Ocelot a lot? That's fun. I respect Ocelot mostly for the fact that he is the wild card. You don't really ever know what he's doing, right? If you're coming into this series blind, you get him in one where you know him as villain. Metal Gear Solid 1, he is villain. Metal Gear Solid 2, he is villain. Metal Gear Solid 3, he is friend, maybe. I don't know. I think
that's what made the twist have a little bit of power, because he still ends up being the good guy by the end.
Right. And
you
then,
know what I mean?
Moving forward, and there's not a whole lot I can speak to moving forward other than Metal Gear Solid 4. Even then, it's questionable, right? Because as far as we know, Ocelot is in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know if he is friend or foe at that point. And I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is that question hanging in the air throughout the series is, I think, what kept me going throughout a lot of it. What really encouraged me to keep watching all of those cutscenes and exploring some of the lore that I might have been more inclined to kind of glaze over during early playthroughs.
Yeah, I'm excited. 5 is really going to stand out to me because of a lens of, like, Ocelot is a big reason for me to get back to that. Like seeing the story where he gets involved. I honestly would be lying if I said I remember more than 25% of the story of that game, just based on my feelings about it, the time it came out, my frustrations with Konami and Kojima at the time.
Sure.
I'm excited to go back to that one. I just know that it's also going to be a long
A long
It's
haul.
going to be a long play. So, that's something we're going to be putting a lot of prep into that so that it doesn't feel, because it can be very fun and it's an amazingly well-crafted and designed game. I remember being very frustrated with how it feels as far as a complete game. And I'm hoping that Ocelot's story isn't sort of like falling victim to the not complete game syndrome. Hopefully at least his story. I just don't remember how it fleshes out. I know where it ends up, obviously, because we talked about other games chronologically in the series, but I'm interested where he falls in and how he ties with Punish Venom Snake and things like that. I'm looking forward to that.
Likewise.
So one thing I want to bring up, that not that we forgot to bring up, but it's very interesting to bring this up, is I don't know if this is the best way to say this, but they sort of already told us during gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 3 that Adamska was the spy. And you guys, I'm obviously not going to like tell you like how would you know that, but how we sort of use Rydenovich to get in, because he's someone that got into Grozny Grad without Colonel Class. There's only one other person that could get in without Colonel Class, and that is Adamska. So,
yeah.
And we know that him and Volgin butt heads. So, why would Volgin give him sort of access to that unless there was a real reason? Maybe he had him in his pocket or whatever, but something like that should have in 2020 hindsight, something should have been much more off about Ocelot. We just sort of relate him to Volgin, but honestly, he should have had no business being in Grozny Grad.
I mean,
when you think about it,
I'll tell you,
the weapons lab of Grozny Grad.
When I was younger, though, I remembered that what was it? The fucking, at the beginning of the game, your virtuous mission, you're told, the spy you're meeting up with is Adam. And then you meet this guy, and then like you find out, I think pretty late in the game, that his name is Adamska. And then that's when I was like, oh, so he was Adam.
Right.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard not to raise your eyebrows at that when you find out what his name is.
I mean, it's a little on the nose.
Well, sure, but I mean, Kojima's done a fair bit of that, I think.
That's his style.
That's just par for the course.
I mean,
his name isn't Spisa.
Somebody, he wrote that line, Princess Beach.
Oh boy. So I just want to throw this out for you, Chris.
Yeah.
You keep bringing that up, right? We're not teaming you up for Princess Beach. I just want you to know. I just want you to be. I want you to be comfortable in the skin you're in, but I want you to be aware that you keep bringing that up.
We should keep that in mind. Kojima is a very on the nose guy.
Very true.
And then he'll like point to it and be like, "See what I did? I was on the nose there. I stuck the landing.
Here's the point. Here's the nose.
Here's me
and I'm
celebrating.
also gonna like show and tell you.
And I'm gonna draw I'm gonna draw a circle around it and an arrow to it to make sure you see it.
That's amazing. You're not wrong though. But yeah, so again, now that you say that, arguably subtle by saying his name is Adamska in his eyes. You know what I mean? Like it could have been worse.
Could have, yeah. And like also video games are marketed to like, this was marketed to like kids, young adults, you know?
Yeah, when this game came out, I was 19. And I wasn't fooled per se, because I sort of, like I said, I noticed the parallels with one going through. I really did. Like I was like, oh, right, there's the sniper, there's the, you sort of play the first mission twice. You're back, it was a way to like engage you in that Ocelot's the first boss, then you get to some of the other characters, then you meet the big bad, then you learn more about the big bad than you thought, then you get back, and the game ends with that fucking crazy rug pull of he did, so in the conversation, I almost have to just read this verbatim because I don't know if I can say it where people will be like, that tracks, Warren, you clearly understand how the game went. The conversation reveals that the CIA had only acquired half of the legacy, which we talked about. It was assumed that the KGB possessed the other half. He submitted blueprints for the potential future weapon of the United States, which was Metal Gear, we saw in Granin's office. He also confirmed that he supplied the Chinese with fake microfilm, revealing that he knew that Eva was the Chinese agent. So that's great. And like a what the fuck are you talking about moment at the end of the game. Like everything we knew about the game is completely changed now. We already were just like, here's all the exposition and we're going to get the, Simple Minds playing Don't You Forget. And we get all the people, we learn all, and here's how they went on to make a cheese factory or, known for
cheese
his
factory. I don't remember that.
And then they straight up just, and everything you knew is completely gone. Like they literally talk about how China caught up with all of this new funding that they got. And then they're like, well, actually none of that shit happened. Like they caught up on their own. It has nothing to do with what Eva did. She actually got sort of, tossed it aside for what she did. It's
Poor
crazy.
Eva.
I know. And then so without going too wild into it, like I said, I talked about 5. Ocelot probably, since we can equate him as a character across all the games because he is one of the few characters that's actually not a clone of himself or any of the other nonsense for a large portion of all of the stuff going on. He sort of earns the right to be people's favorite character. He's got a great voice. I love just how he handles himself. I still don't know how he goes from, young Russian sharpshooter, handgun specialist, GRU commander to, this thing's got 6 shots, revolver. Like he's gone through a whole fucking life to get there. By the time we get to Metal Gear Solid 1, but I think it's a pretty cool, he's a pretty fucking awesome character, man. He's just so fun to watch, and he's so fun he's like a great foil for Snake in every game he's in. And what I like about him is he's not the same character in every game, which should be a problem, but he's not. Like he really does sort of serve a totally different purpose in almost every game he's in. I only say that because I don't want to speak for 5 because I truly don't remember his true involvement as far as the story, if he does a rug pull or anything like the stuff he normally does in games.
In 5, he's doing the rug pulling from the very beginning. It's part of the story, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. And that's what I thought. I'm like, I'm trying not to speak out of turn so the Twitter police doesn't fucking knock my door down.
You know more about this shit. You pay more attention than I do sometimes, to be honest with you. It's a lot to keep up with. These I feel like the meme of, Charlie Green from It's Always Sunny with the lines, and it's like, it's all there, man.
Yeah.
But
on previous podcasts where I've talked about Metal Gear, that has been the meme attached to when they hear me talking about Metal Gear. Because I've had some moments, because like I said, you get excited about XOF being anti-Fox and how do these characters tie into all this shit going on. And like I said, 5's got some fucking awesome stuff in that game. So I'm excited to go back because I think I'm going with a completely new lens when we get there. But I'm also excited for the other games we're going to talk about, like the story moving up to 5. Like I'm legitimately excited for Peace Walker, and I'm interested in Portable Ops. I'm glad that it's understood that Portable Ops is sort of literally it's like an addendum. It's like an appendix for the book that is Metal Gear. It's not like its own chapter, really. It just, as far as story's concerned. But there is some good stuff in there. I wouldn't say that there's a lot of Ocelot in that game, but we still get something out of it. But as far as the story moving forward, so we like I said, we talked about how the game has ended, and we've sort of given some of our thoughts on it. But before we move to just like how we felt about the game, how we feel about everything moving forward, when it comes to Ocelot, Adamska, Shalashaska, Chris, do you have any final words that you'd like to put Mr. Revolver Boy to bed before we move to just how we feel about the ending?
I mean, I like Metal Gear Solid 3. I like the way that it ends. A lot of the problems that I have with the game is just problems that I have with Metal Gear as a series. And if I were to sum that up, I would say it's just that it's overwrought a bit. Just a bit, though, not completely overwrought. Adamska, he's probably top tier favorite character in the series. Him and Big Boss have a equal place in my heart.
Cool. I like that. Tori, before we just give our feelings on the end, talk about Ocelot. You have anything else you want to add?
I just love how cheeky he is during this game, especially towards the end when he really starts to come into his own, and you can tell that certain events are going to transpire, and the power dynamic is going to shift a little. And when that comes through the most is his interactions with Volgan during Snake's fight with Volgan. You know, fight like a man, Volgan. You know, Volgan. Yeah, I don't know. It probably the most entertaining thing about this whole story from this game is watching, like you said, Warren, watching the interactions between Snake and Ocelot and watching their relationship change from, you know, beginning of Virtuous Mission to the end of Operation Snake Eater. I mean, their whole understanding of each other has changed at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how that goes moving forward.
And to do a little segue with Ocelot and the ending of this game, I did not expect that Ocelot would essentially be one of the founding members of the Patriots.
Yeah, likewise, actually.
I would not have actually expected that. Now, like I said, it may be through not necessarily like obvious he is a found, but he supplies the funds that creates the Patriots. I mean, that's what he does for the CIA. And
he's like a secret member of the Patriots.
Right.
The Patriots don't know about him in a way.
In a sense. I mean, like, yeah, by the end of it, they may because of just the CIA's involvement, but a lot of the other people of Patriots, we've learned that part of the reason why they become what they do is they sort of are gone from Fox and being the wet work team for the CIA. Like that sort of goes by pretty quickly.
Yeah. Ocelot's probably the most like multifaceted character in that way. That you're just describing more. And like what you get from his character is what you see, what you're allowed to see. Right. And the members of the Patriots were allowed to see this one side of him. And then he had the other side that was like the double agent. And then the other side that's the triple agent. And then I think in the end, he also has like his own motivations that are like separate from all of that, but kind of driving him through what he's doing.
Which I suppose we don't really get a handle on until the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right, Tori.
Yeah. So, all right. So now this is where we can basically put Metal Gear Solid to rest before we get to the listener episode. Moving forward, we're talking about the ending of the game. We've definitely not talked it to death. I think we've given it its proper due. This game in general. So where does it sit as far as importance to you? Where does it sit as far as a Metal Gear game? How do we feel about the story in general? And are we looking forward to what may come in line in future seasons? I'll start with Tori, if that's okay.
Yeah, I suppose that's all right. Yeah,
just catch me up on Metal Gear Solid 3. Let's hash it out.
I love a good origin story. When this game was originally coming out, I had just steeped myself in Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2. I was playing catch up at that point. So when I saw what Metal Gear Solid 3 was going to be, I was very, very excited. At that point, we'd only heard mentions of Big Boss, and that fun realization that, oh, we're playing as Snake, but not Solid Snake. Okay, weird, but yeah, cool. Okay, I don't know. It just, the whole experience from this game during my first playthrough was, I mean, this is I suppose this is a little bit of a beep beep spoiler for a Patriot Club, but this
beep beep spoiler, beep beep.
I think I can confidently say that this game was foundational for me in terms of a compelling story within a video game.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I get.
So yeah, Chris, how do you feel about Metal Gear Solid 3?
Once upon a time, Metal Gear Solid 3 was my favorite Metal Gear game, and I still think it holds a special place in my heart, but I'm glad to be moving forward, technologically speaking. The ability to play a game, because my God, it's been a long time since like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot has changed in just gameplay in general. And I don't know.
Well, we're not. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're gonna leap all around the place in terms of the technology in game.
Yeah, we're gonna be all over the place. But I think 3's probably solidly my second favorite Metal Gear experience at the moment.
Okay.
That's great. Cool. Well, then I'll share my final thoughts. This is crazy that we're doing final thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 3 right now.
Give me your thoughts, Warren. Lend me your thoughts.
You know what, Chris? I'm glad you asked. Let me get myself ready here. So for me, when you talk about video game experiences, so again, I was 19 when this game came out. I was living on my own. I can safely say this was the first Metal Gear game I got to play sort of as an adult. I know that's kind of a broad term, but in the legal sense, I was an adult. And it was very rewarding for me. And I think when you talk about the experience, it's going to make it a top 2 experience for me no matter what. And when we get to Metal Gear Solid 1, I can sort of relate that as maybe they sort of share the top spot. I had so much fun my first time playing this game, and what makes this game so special is it very rarely sort of feels stale or feels frustrating as you go through, and I was still laughing at the jokes. I was charmed by the characters again and again and again, and sort of this being my introduction to Metal Gear Mondays as a host as well. This is like a really good game to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed the journey. I'm glad I got to play Subsistence, so I got the better controls and the better camera. But I really, what makes it so bittersweet is, again, some of the people we talked about in this episode is just how story-wise, I don't know if any of the other games really hold a candle as far as a complete package moving forward. And it's not to sully the future seasons we're going to record here or make anything feel less fresh or less excited to play. But there's a reason why a lot of people just understand this is the best game in the Metal Gear Solid series. I totally get it. I can't really argue with someone that feels that way. And my experience would also be right on par with what anybody would want to say about it. I think what's going to be exciting, though, is I've never been able to move forward chronologically with this story outside of doing research for it. And it's interesting to, let's just say, I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 1 without playing, 2 and 3 as far as knowing the story moving forward. So I'm excited to get to those future games with truly having had like a monocle magnifying glass to all the stuff moving forward. And I think it's going to make some of the games really rich, because a game like Metal Gear Solid 1, not that I know that Kojima's famous for just like, we're going to make this fit in and we're going to tie this in. And it was never planned from the beginning. Like, he's been trying to get out of Metal Gear since Metal Gear Solid 2. But it's going to be fun when we get to those pieces of like, oh shit, that's actually a callback. That's fucking awesome. Like, I'm excited for that. But I'm also excited to just move. I want to see what I just read about or watched on a YouTube video. It's been a while since I've actually like played it and been like, oh shit, like I forgot this was how this moves forward. And sometimes it's going to be a disappointing with when we talk about Eva and the boss, we're going to be pretty bummed. But there's still some great characters we're about to meet in future games, and they're great. But it does feel like the cast of characters in this, even the pain and the fear aside, these are kind of like the best sort of accompaniment of a total package of characters in a game. And yeah, it feels like it gets an A across a lot of the boards, the story, the gameplay, the level design, all that stuff. This is a fucking great game.
Yeah. It's
straight
well
up.
thought out, and it's complete in its ideas. And I think I will wholeheartedly back everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it still holds up today. I mean, it's not...
It really does. I really thought I was going to be frustrated with it, and I wasn't.
Say again?
I thought I'd be frustrated with man, games have really gotten better since 2004.
Right.
I just really didn't feel that way at all. And I'm the retro guy, of course, but still, PlayStation is like known for jank because they just want the graphics to look good and all that. But Kojima never did that. Kojima made sure the controls and the gameplay was tight as well. And that's something that I think holds up with these games as we're going to get to it. And I'm excited to play a PSP game because it's similar graphics, but again, they tried to utilize the PSP. They didn't just make a game and threw it on their handheld. They tried to do something. Will it succeed? We'll get there when we get to season 2. But it's interesting to know that they did that. So that's something I give Kojima. If I'm going to give him credit, that's the credit I'm going to give him every time. Is even if it feels jank, it was the hardware, not them cutting corners on gameplay.
Right.
Yeah.
So Tori, what do you got? Sorry, I feel like I cut you off, or you caught me mid thought. So sorry if I stepped on you there.
No worries. No, I think you were communicating exactly what I had in my brain. But now that I do have a moment here, did y'all play that Ape Escape game?
Oh,
I have at one point. This time I did not, though.
Yeah, I skipped it.
But I have at one point.
Likewise, I was hoping that one of you maybe dipped into it a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe I can play a little bit of that.
If you want to have a good little
before our
laugh
listener
about it,
response episode,
I highly recommend it. It's very good. It's not.
Yeah, I remember it being fun. For whatever reason, Chris, that did not sound genuine.
No, they married the two concepts really well. I thought they used the sneaking aspect, and they made it more about that. Because you do in Ape Escape have to sort of sneak up on the apes to catch.
Yeah, you can't Crowbar Jones your way in there.
Yeah.
You have to sneak in. Now, if you guys want to give at least a little laugh about it, the names have pretty okay puns. So you'll be playing through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I wish we
levels.
had an audience laugh-o-meter soundboard or something.
So mission 1 is escape from the jungle.
I get
Mission
it.
2 is dragnet of the apes. Mission 3 is dawn of the apes. Mission 4 is ape fear.
I get it.
And mission 5 is gone with the apes. Couldn't tell you why that's what they decided on, but after this game came out, there were a couple of movies that actually had some of those titles close to it. I think Ape Fear is probably the best one. I was going to rank them.
Ape Fear is pretty good, yeah.
But are we? We're going to move on to our ending here. We're gonna put Metal Gear Solid 3 to rest.
Put her in the ground.
Yeah, it's a little dramatic.
All right.
But I mean, we were kind of making jokes off mic, but it does feel like this game took 7 years to get through and record episodes for.
Seriously.
But obviously, first time full game for Tori and I. I'm excited to move forward to future games, and it's cool now that we're done. We can actually put it to rest and kind of have these now to catalog on what the story is moving forward. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we're wrapping up Metal Gear Solid 3, which is really fucking cool.
Season 1 wrap? Sort of. I mean, sort of.
As far as story is concerned, I'm excited to do the other stuff we have planned for Metal Gear Solid 3. But as far as the story, we're we're going to wrap. This is going to be our final episode on story and or characters for Metal Gear Solid 3. Chris, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on the Discord and at MetalGearMondays.com in the bio section.
There he is.
There you go. Find me there.
Tori, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at Young Neil and places. You can also find me... Oh, I guess it's Young Neil on the Discord, too. You can also find me playing Ape Escape. The little Ape Escape crossover before the next episode, so...
Yeah, so you can find me at Warminix. If gamer tags are your thing, you can find me at Untaggable Gamer. The band Spooky Forest. Feel free to give us a listen. Spotify, Google Play, whatever your thing is.
It's the right time to listen to Spooky Forest as well.
So what I will say, guys, is thank you again for downloading and listening to this first season of Metal Gear Solid 3. Wherever you are getting this podcast, if you could leave a rate and review, that would be amazing. It really does help in the almighty algorithm AI situation. If you want to get some information, as Chris mentioned, you can go to MetalGearMondays.com where you can learn about previous hosts, current hosts, moving forward, a way to contact us. You can go to bit.ly/MGM store. We have some new merch up, which is great. Sean Wilkins, who has been just like the best random artist to just want to start giving us his rendition of a certain thing that goes on with the show. So I appreciate it, Sean. You're the fucking best. And hopefully we have some more ideas in the future to relate to you to get something going.
Oh, we've got a couple jotted down already, Warren. Don't you worry.
And again, the Patreon. I'll give a big shout out to the patrons in general. Without you, I don't think season 1 of this show could be possible, if I'm being honest. So it is very much appreciated. And moving forward, we're looking forward on ways to just include you guys and interact and engage with you guys moving forward. So, we very much appreciate it. For $1 a month, you could get into the Discord. You have some other access to some things. As the tiers go up, you may get show notes, extra podcasts. We are doing a monthly game club built into the Discord where we have a chance to talk. We're going to be trying to do as many live streams as we can based on some of the games we want to play or talk about. So again, Patreon, Metal Gear Mondays. I guess all that's left to do is let her rip, Jack.
Yeah.